You can tell that these are very wealthy people who are very schooled in public relations. That they've got a wild bank of lawyers behind them. That they've got the money. It's an impressive group. No, these are just regular folks. Yeah. These are not superstars. This is not that Kobe Bryant's going to have his home taken. These are working folks. But the part that bothers me is you've got the government who wants the tax revenue from the new development. You've got the politically connected developers who have the money, the lawyers, and the means, and so you've got these two powerful forces. Both will benefit, and you've got this little homeowner who's in the way.
And when I first saw Philip's documentary, it just brought back a flood of emotions, because in my basement, I have 500 letters from the children and grandchildren of elderly people and renters and other low-income small business owners who lived in Southeast Arvada. They were dislocated in the late 1990s into this new decade to make way for a new development that promised to be the shining city on the hill. And as it turns out, it is nearly vacant.
What development is this?
This is the Arvada Water Tower neighborhood. And there's still ongoing litigation concerning the condemnations that happened there. So this isn't just something that happens in other states, it's something that happens in Colorado. And even though we have reformed our laws so we have avoided some of the abuses,
I look at the political situation.
Still a problem.
Again, you've got the government who wants a tax revenue. You've got the builders who want to make the money, but also you have the consumers who want to have the new restaurant or the new shopping center or the new development. And so the whole world wants this. Why should we let one little guy who owns a home get in the way?
Well, here's the thing, and the urban renewal is basically a myth. That you're going to bring in all these, which they don't call it urban renewal anymore, now they call it redevelopment. They bring in all this tax money. And these lawyers, and I've sat, and she's probably sat in these redevelopment meetings where these lawyers bring up these charts and these just outrageous numbers, and when they finally build the project, it's not bringing in the tax revenue. What happens is the cities end up paying off the bonds. And Mark Funkhauser, who was auditor at the time before he became mayor in Kansas City, Missouri, has written 4 audits showing that almost every TIF project in the state, tax increment financing, basically in the Kansas City, Missouri area, has not paid back the revenue that they promised. And the jobs are low-income jobs. They're like minimum wage jobs. So who's really benefiting here? I mean, how many Walmarts are you going to need in the same block? Like in Arnold, I mean, there's a shopping center on every block. There's maybe 4 or 5.
Let me make it clear. I like the idea of a shopping center on every block. I love Walmart. It gives me a better quality of life because I can buy what I want cheaper. So let me bring this question over to you. You got the government who wants the tax revenue. You've got the developers who want to make the money. You've got the people like me who want the development there because we want better places to shop, better places to eat. And there's just one little old lady in a house, and she said, "This is where I raised my kids. I don't want to give it up." Why should we all stand still for the one little old lady?
I think there's many reasons, and I know you're being somewhat facetious here, but urban renewal was coined as Negro removal in the 1960s by a radical black activist. And I think that term is correct because time and again, whether it may not always be Negroes in a state that's mostly, black people, it may not always be Negro removal in a state like Colorado that's so white, but it is our most economically depressed communities, including right here in 5 Points where we are at the studio today, which is traditionally African-American neighborhood. So we have the civil rights issue. Property rights and home ownership specifically is the #1 tool we have as a society to allow people to pick themselves up by their bootstraps and obtain the American dream themselves. So there's a civil rights angle. And also the tide is turning again. It's not just grassroots activists that are getting mobilized nationally.
I'm looking for a moral reason here.
Developers are finding developers in Southeast Arvada that were brought in as part of the original urban renewal.
Well, let me ask you a question.
No, let me ask this. We've only got a few minutes left. I want an answer to this. So
because you could be next, John. Because you could be next.
Yeah,
we the people.
My point.
We the people. We the people want that property. We the people through the government. The property developers want it. We the consumers want it. Why should we stop all that because one little black, white, Hispanic grandma doesn't matter?
But
wants to
we
keep
got
her
a
home.
question. When it comes to how many Walmarts or Costco's do you want on the same corner, and you're paying for it
as many as the market will allow.
But your property taxes, because these projects are all tax-exempt financing or corporate welfare, you're paying for it in higher property taxes and mill levy. And how much does your mill levy want to go up? How much more does your property taxes want to go up? You know, I mean,
it's just a bad model of governance. Yes, okay, we can get to the fundamental point, which is that you are vulnerable if everyone else is vulnerable, and that is why we must protect every constitutional right, even for the most unsympathetic victim.
Let me try it this way. The idea of free markets, the idea of capitalism, is based on property rights. That if you don't own what you own, the system breaks down. You cannot have a system of capitalism, you cannot have a system of economic liberty if the state can take away what you own.
Which is one of the reasons I choose not to shop at Walmart. Not that Walmart itself is to blame for all of these abuses. We've allowed Walmart to obtain the power over our system of taxation and municipal planning. But that being said, it is a symbol not of the capitalist success story, but about how the powerful have overtaken the free markets. You simply cannot have a large-scale municipal planning project in Colorado today, at least in the Metro Denver area, without having some sort of tax increment financing or other taxpayer funding for these corporations. In some ways, that might be good. But in the vast majority of cases, it's abuse at the expense of the taxpayer.
All right. But you also have municipality fighting municipality for tax revenues, so they're going to work on this as well.
But see,
Screams for a regional
here's the thing, though, is how much tax base you want to give away, and you got these municipalities fighting each other, but the problem is we need to reform to stop property rights being abused. And I think that's what it comes down to the legislature. It comes down to the activists getting involved. People need to get involved to protect their property rights, because in the 14th Amendment, it's one of those rights that cannot be taken away by government or any government agency, and mysteriously it's being taken.
You people with your damn Constitution, all the time with the Constitution.
Well, I'm going to get real practical here and encourage people to contact the Property Rights Project, because we are going to be moving and getting more and more actively involved in the protetion of rights.
People want to see Begging for Billionaires. What's the best way for them to get hold of the documentary?
Tonight, it's going to be shown in...
Doesn't matter where tonight is, because we're taping this before it airs. So
you can actually, we're talking to distributors. Hopefully it'll be limited in the movie theaters and maybe on television.
Is there a webpage to go to?
Yes, www.beggingforbillionaires.com.
Beggingforbillionaires.com. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Jessica, as always. And thank you. Listen for me late nights on 850 KOA. Listen to our podcast at ivoices.org. And tell a friend about the Independence Institute. We'll see you next week.
You jab, bamboozle, nuke, and noozle, bippity bop, she-gall. You jab, bamboozle, nuke, and noozle, bippity bop, she-gall. I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it off.